Hello friends! I'm so excited to be doing my reading wrap up for November. As always, I'm going to separate this by genre, so I have cozy mysteries, I have like one random mystery, and then a bunch of thrillers. So we're going to start with cozy mysteries. I hope you had a good reading month. Let me know what your favorite book was that you read last month, and let's dive into cozy. So for starters, I read The Jasmine Moon Murder by Laura Childs. This is kind of an October cemetery one. There's like a ghost crawl through Charleston's cemetery. I love the Tea Shop Mystery series. If you like cozies that have a lot of, well, if you like tea for starters, I think you'll really enjoy this. But if you like cozies that involve a lot of history, like art, culture, antiques, like kind of things like that, I feel like you'll really enjoy this. The sleuth Theodosia is just really great. She's a loyal, spunky, kind of blunt person. I love her employees at the tea shop. Her dog's name is Earl Grey. It's a great series. This is book 5 in the series, and I'm working my way through book 6 right now, and I just love the series. I would wholeheartedly recommend this. If this theme at all sounds good to you, definitely check it out. And plus the covers, so cute. Another series this month. I read not one, not two, but three books in it. And I mean, each of these are on the shorter side. They're about 200 pages, so they're definitely shorter books. These are so good. So this is the Nightmare Arizona Paranormal Cozy Mystery Series by Beth Dogner. The covers are absolutely gorgeous. I think my favorite is this green one. I just love the color so much. But these take place in a Nightmare, Arizona, which is like this kind of ghostly mining town. It's very small, it's very deserted. Our main character Olivia breaks down there after a divorce. Like, her car breaks down, she's stuck there. She ends up working at this haunted house that, as you can guess by the paranormal part, actually has paranormal, like supernatural beings and stuff there. And what I love about the series is that the mysteries are great. The setting is amazing. I love the southwestern, like, mining town. It feels like a Scooby-Doo ghostly mining town setting, which I love. And then the found family. The found family and the community between the people at the Nightmare Arizona Sanctuary, which is the haunted house, is so beautiful. I just finished Murder at the Motel. And there's I would read these in order, absolutely read this series in order, because there's some really great subplots going on, and one of the subplots was addressed a little bit at the very end of this one, and I was like in tears. From just a few paragraphs. It was so emotional. I love this series so much. I couldn't recommend it more. I'm not even the biggest supernatural paranormal fan, but I adore this series. I couldn't recommend it more. It's putting my heart through the ringer. The mysteries are great. I love it so much. A cozy series that wasn't quite for me, that I was really excited about, it was on my 15 cozy mystery series I want to start this year list, which I'll link above, and that is Miss Morris and the Ghost. This is a Salem B&B. I tried listening to this on audio, and I actually listened to almost all of it, so it was a very, like, I almost finished it. It was a DNF, but I almost finished it. But basically this woman purchases a beat up, like, old house, and she's gonna restore it and make it into this vintage, like, B&B. I love the setting, and the place is actually haunted by a ghost who wants her help in solving his murder, because he believes he was murdered, but the police have written it off as like a stroke or like natural causes or something. So great premise. I enjoyed the first half of the book, but it just felt like not a lot was happening. The ghost was a little weird. I mean, I know that's a weird statement to say the ghost was weird. I mean, I don't know. But like, I don't know. I didn't love the relationship between Jack the ghost and the main character. I just kind of felt like awkward reading it. I just didn't love it. There was some great cat scenes. It wasn't for me. It just wasn't for me, so I ended up kind of DNFing it around like 2/3 or so of the way in. The book that I read with my patrons this month for our book club was The Diva Runs Out of Time by Krista Davis. This is the first in the Domestic Diva mystery series, and I have read some other books in this series, but I had never gone and read the first book, so I'm really glad I got the chance to. We loved this book. Like, everyone was raving about this book. I gave it 4.5 stars. The only critique I had was that there were so many characters, so I had a little bit of a hard time personally keeping track of all of them. That's more of a me thing though. But the plot was amazing. I love Sophie, the main character. She's like So the Domestic Diva premise is that she's an event planner professionally, but she's also like this culinary domestic diva who can just like plan events at home. She's a great cook. She's great at hosting. She's like so sweet. Her mother drove me crazy though. Her mother was like always putting her down. I was like, what is your problem, lady? Like I was felt so bad for Sophie. There was also these fun little tips at the beginning of each one where Sophie or her rival, who's another kind of domestic diva, Natasha, will write answers to, and it's just really fun. And I just love this. This was a Thanksgiving themed one. It was excellent. If you're still in the mood for something kind of Thanksgiving themed, this was really fun. The mystery, I didn't even see it coming. It like completely smacked me across the face. I wouldn't have guessed that in a million years. I really loved it. It was so fun. Another DNF for me was Swayed to Rest by Diana Valerie. This was another one on my cozy mystery series I want to start list. Apparently, I didn't do a very good job this year with picking those. I don't know, but it was a DNF. I did listen to it on audio. I actually didn't love the narrator, which typically I haven't had any like issues with narrators before, but I just didn't love the sound of the narration. And then our main character was Polyester. She's opening like a fabric shop that was in her family for all these years, and like her aunt had been murdered in it many years ago, and she has literally never asked a single question about her aunt's murder. She knows nothing. She never tried to look up a newspaper article or like anything, and I have a really hard time believing that. And she was just kind of this very dense character who just seemed like she kept making so many bad decisions, and I just couldn't. It was like watching a train wreck. I really just couldn't get into it. So that one was a bit of a disappointment for me this month. One that I loved though was Calypso, Corpses, and Cooking by Raquel V. Reyes. This is the second in the Caribbean kitchen mystery series, and I did listen to this on audio as well. I loved this book. This was such a great audiobook. I loved hearing the Spanish pronounced correctly by the narrator, because of course when I'm reading it to myself in my head, I'm not an expert. I don't know how to say everything correctly, so it was so nice to hear everything said beautifully. I just enjoyed it so much. I love Miriam, our main character. She works as like a cooking host, and she does all these Caribbean recipes. She's a mother. She's just this really dynamic character. I think her friends are great. She's got this one friend who's like a really like kind of like great like businesswoman, real estate agent. I really loved it, and the mystery for this, it had me on the edge of my seat. I loved this. I can't wait to pick up the next book in the series. I think there's 2 more out right now, and I'm really enjoying this book series. Speaking of a series I'm really loving, the Deputy Donut Mystery Series by Ginger Bolton. I finished Beyond a Reasonable Donut because the next one in the series is Christmas, so I really wanted to get to the Deck of the Donuts this December. So I read this month, even though this is very clearly like a summary cozy mystery. This was so good though. So this really involves Emily, who's our main character. She's the owner, part-time owner. She and her father-in-law Tom run Deputy Donut, which is a donut shop. It's really lovely. She is a widow. Her husband was a police officer, and she was a 911 operator. After his passing in the line of duty, she ends up opening this donut shop with her father-in-law, and I love their relationship. I love the employees at the shop, and this one really focuses in on one of her employees, Nina. And Nina is an artist, and I just love that so much. There's a lot of support for the arts in this series, which is amazing. And Nina and Emily are running like a donut booth at this local fair when drama happens, and this went in so many places I never would have seen coming. I was so surprised. This series, the endings are always really good. Even if you put together like the who behind everything, I'm always just so on the edge of my seat. The endings are dynamic. I love Emily. I love the kind of slowly growing possible romance there. It's actually very sweet, which isn't something I usually look forward to very much in cozies, but this one's actually very sweet. And there's always a lot of great cat scenes with Depp, who is the Deputy Donut cat and Emily's cat, and I just love him. He's precious. I love him so much. Pepperoni Pizza Can Be Murder by Chris Cavender. This is the second in the Pizza Lovers mystery series, which I'm currently rereading, which is very rare for me. This is the first time I'm really going back and rereading a cozy series. I'm loving it so much. So it takes place in North Carolina, Timber Ridge, a small town. Our main character is Eleanor Swift, and her sister Maddie also works at the shop as kind of like the host, kind of front end of the pizza shop, whereas Eleanor likes to prefers working in the back making the pizzas and running the business. And she's also a widow. She lost her husband very young, and just it's really sad. It is a really good subplot in this series to kind of see her moving on with her grief, but it's hard to get through. Her and her sister Maddie make this series for me. I love their dynamic. Maddie is like an extreme extrovert, very like out there and glamorous, and like, you know, she's been married like 3 or 4 times. She's just very different from Eleanor, who's very reserved. She's been married once. She's very like inward focused with like her thinking and her thought process and stuff. But their dynamics when they're sleuthing together make my day. I love them. They have some really interesting characters who work at the shop with them, who I just adore. I couldn't recommend the series more. I'm rereading it and I'm just adoring it. And the mysteries are great, and the pizza details, incredible. You will be so hungry. Definitely make sure you have at least something with cheese if you're going to be reading this series. A Deadly Chapter by Jan Fields. This is the 4th in the Secrets of the Castleton Manor Library, and I had this in my Christmas vlog that I did recently, which I'll link above. This is the cover. I checked it out from my library. Oh, this series just keeps getting better and better. I love this series. So we have our cat here, Watson. You get to read some of the book from his perspective, just little snippets, and he's always a very mischievous cat, which is fun. But our main character is Faith, and she lives in the carriage house on this big estate, the Castleton Manor estate, and she works in the library, which has all these rare books, and there's always some kind of literary event going on at the center of each book. So in this book there's a Charles Dickens society that's staying at the manor, and they're talking about the Christmas Carol, and there's a Dickensian Christmas ball at the end, and it is so Christmassy and lovely. I really feel like you can jump around in this series. I don't feel like this one is one that you necessarily have to read in order, so if you're looking for a Christmas cozy to jump into, I would check this out. I just love the series. They're about 200 some pages, so they're on the shorter side. Easy to kind of fly through, and just a really good time. I always have a fun time with this series. I think Faith is a great character. I love her best friend who works there, Brooke. She's got some family in town who are really sweet, and she's got like a boss who they kind of grate each other a little bit, Marlene. But I just love the setup. I love the literary events. They're so fun. There was one that was like a thriller author convention. There was like a cookbook author convention for one of them. There's so many cool events. So I really recommend the series. I haven't really heard anyone else talk about it, so I think it's underrated. I would check it out. Another series that I started for the first time this month was The Readaholics and the Falcon Fiasco by Laura de Silveiro. This is a book club mystery, and this is my first book in this series that I've read. Our main character is Amy Faye. This takes place in Heaven, Colorado, a small town, and she's an event planner, and she does a lot of weddings. She accidentally ends up agreeing to plan her ex-boyfriend's wedding in this one, which is very dramatic. And she's also in this book club where they take turns picking books, usually mysteries or thrillers, and one of the members in this book is murdered, so her and the book club members get involved trying to solve the case. So it's simultaneously like an event planning and bookish cozy, which is a really fun combo. You also do have a cat that is introduced in this series who's very, very cute, Misty, and I recommend this. I was actually really surprised. I feel like the pacing at first was a little bit slow for me, but the ending was so good. I'm really attached to the characters. There's some really unique, kooky characters in the book club that just really make it stand out, and I thought Amy Faye was a really cool character. Very realistic, not perfect, like a very imperfect character, but very lovable all the same. So I really enjoy this. If you like bookish, if you're looking for like small town Colorado, like a mountainous kind of cozy, if you like cats in your cozies, if you like event planning, all of these aspects were really great in this series, so I would just really check it out. Hello friends, it's a little bit later in the day, but I'm going to be finishing up the reading wrap up, so I have a few more. So one of the cozy mysteries I checked out from my library this month, I've already returned it, was called Wild Goose Chase, so I'll put a picture on screen, and I did DNF this. I was really surprised. This is like a quilting mystery series, and I thought this would be fun, especially because the main character inherited this shop, and she doesn't actually quilt. She knows nothing about the craft really, so it's really just kind of an interesting dynamic. Her sister-in-law works there. They have a very strained relationship, and it's just really interesting. I liked the dynamics, I liked the main character, but I was really surprised. There was quite a bit of cursing, and then there was actually one of the most like explicit romantic scenes I have ever seen in a cozy mystery, I think ever. And when I looked at Goodreads, someone else had commented, a couple people had commented about this, saying that was really weird, they didn't like that. And one person had even said that there was a second one in the same book that I didn't even make it to because I ended up DNFing it because I just wasn't really loving some of the graphic content in this cozy. So yeah, that was just kind of a bummer. So just a heads up, I mean, I thought the writing was good, I thought the mystery was really interesting. So if you don't mind that, but keep in mind, otherwise, if you're looking for something that's truly cozy, this one doesn't fit the bill. A cozy mystery that I loved, and I got approved for the second book on NetGalley, and I'm so excited. It's called The Last Word by Jerry Lewis. This is an obituary writer cozy mystery. So the main character writes obituaries for a living, which I read a thriller that had an obituary writer character in it like months back, and one of you recommended this cozy mystery series to me, and thank you so much for doing that because I just found it such an interesting career. I've never thought about that career path before. But reading about all the work that gets put into it is super fascinating. Plus they have to be such like a good researcher to be able to pull off a job like that, so it really helps with the detective like sleuthing stuff. This was fascinating. So basically this lady calls up the main character, whose name was like Winter Snow or something like that, which I thought was so cute, but she calls her up and she's basically like, I want you to write my obituary. And she's not unused to writing obituaries ahead of time because sometimes people want to see what their obituary will read, especially if they're maybe older or maybe if they know they have some kind of terminal diagnosis or something like that. So she said that wasn't super unusual, but this lady wanted it done by like Friday. Like she was urgently saying that she wanted it done, and then something happens to her before Friday, and it's like, did she know someone was after her? And that's how the mystery starts. This mystery was so intense. There were so many parts that threw me. I was so impressed. It was really good. I would highly recommend it. I'm so looking forward to reading book 2 on NetGalley. Alright, and last but certainly not least for cozy mysteries, one of my favorites I read this month was a NetGalley ebook, and that was A Holiday Homicide by Ellie Alexander. This is the 4th book and the most recent release in the Secret Bookcase mystery series. This is one of the best Christmassy cozy mysteries, and it has like a gingerbread competition. There's like a snobby kind of influencer character, which is a trope I think is really interesting with the social media aspect for mysteries. I think that's super interesting. I love the town. I love the main character, Annie Murray. I love the bookstore she works at. It's like themed after Agatha Christie and all these different mystery authors and stuff, and her co-workers are amazing. The owner is incredible. There's a really interesting subplot with a friend of hers in college because she studied criminology, so she actually has a background in this, so it gives her more perspective on what's going on with like crime scenes than most, but she never actually got professional experience in it because something happens, and that's kind of a subplot throughout the series. So definitely read these in order. If I would definitely recommend reading this series in order. It definitely builds on itself, but oh my goodness, the mystery was so amazing. The Christmas vibes were top notch, and then one of the subplots had like some stuff like kind of developed, and I was just like, my mind, I'm still thinking about it, and I read this like 2 weeks ago or something. So I highly recommend this series. I've been really enjoying this new series by Ellie Alexander. It might actually be my favorite from her. And that's like high praise because I really enjoy her Bake Shop mystery series and the Sloane Kloss mystery series, but I really love this series, so I would strongly recommend it. Okay, so my one like kind of general mystery book that I read that I DNF'd, unfortunately. I've had it's been like either hit or miss this month. It's been like I've loved it or I've DNF'd it. I don't know what it is, but this is The Mysterious Case of the Appleton Angels by Janice Hallett, and I am shocked that I DNF'd this. So I got to page 130. It's about 450 pages. Or no, it's close to 500. So I read over 20% of this book, and basically this entire book is mixed media. So it's like text messages, emails, none of it's like traditional just like block text like you typically read in a book. So I thought that would be interesting. I haven't read anything that's fully mixed media before. I'm not sure if I like it. I'm also not sure if I would enjoy this more on audio. If you've listened to this on audio, let me know, because I kind of soft DNF'd this. I don't know. Basically, there is this cult called the Appleton Angels, and this baby is almost sacrificed in this cult, but they're rescued. And then 18 years later, they're about to turn 18, and this journalist is trying to hunt the baby down because now they can legally interview the baby, and they're trying to write like a book on this cult, and things are not quite what they seem. The devil is in the detail. Now, I found the cult to be really interesting. I found it to be a really interesting concept, but I just found myself getting really bored with the multimedia being like the only format for this book. So this could just be me in the format. I think the writing was excellent. I think there's probably a really amazing twist. I've heard so many good things about this. I really want to read something else by this author. I have the Twyford Code behind me, and I'm thinking about maybe picking that up and then maybe coming back to this. But let me know, if you listened to this on audio, was it good? Because I could almost see this being better in audio format. I'm not sure. Let me know. So that's kind of a softy enough. I'm not gonna like post a review on Goodreads of it because I haven't made up my mind yet. Alright, thrillers. I have a handful here. Where do we want to start? Okay, let's do Then She Was Gone by Lisa Jewell. So I've had this used for a while on my shelf. I finally picked it up because I was just in a bit of a slump. I really wanted to read a good thriller because I'd had a few DNFs, which we will get to. And Lisa Jewell has been a pretty strong writer for me. I don't think I've had anything that I haven't enjoyed from her. This book was really insane. Now, it was a great thriller. It was highly entertaining. It kept me going. I read this in like a day and a half. Like, I really couldn't put it down. But man, the ending for this makes you want to sit there and go, is this author okay? Like, should we send her a card or something and ask if she's okay? Because how did she come up with this? That was kind of my reaction to the final like kind of twist. I was like, how did she, why, like, tell me this isn't based on a true story. Please tell me this is not based on a true story. It probably is, because our world is so crazy. But man, it's a dark ending. It's very suspenseful. So our primary character we're following is this mother named Laurel, and she has a few kids, one of them whose name is Ellie Mack. And so she was like a 15-year-old daughter that she had, and 10 years ago she disappeared. Like, off the face of the earth. The cops can't find any trace of her. Like, nothing. Absolutely nothing. And now Laurel is dating this man who has a daughter that's like kind of disturbingly similar to her daughter. And the daughter's name is Poppy, and Poppy is like the splitting image of Ellie, and it's just really creepy. And she starts to kind of like dig into some things in the past. And you also start to see her kind of reinvent herself after all these years of grieving, which I really enjoyed the process of that, actually. But this was really, the less I say the better, but wow, that ending really leaves you going, okay, is everyone okay? I don't know. It was, I didn't see it coming, so I guess I can give it that. One that I bought at my library book sale recently, and I actually put the video up this month, so I'll link it above if you want to check out this book video where I went book shopping at a used bookshop in my library. And one that I bought was Not That I Could Tell by Jessica Strouser. As you can see, I sold the bookmark in it. I read about half of this book. Almost 200 pages, so a little over half, actually. I ended up putting this down because it just felt like kind of like a neighborhood drama. I was really looking for a thriller. I really wanted to be experiencing lots of twists and not on the edge of my seat, and I didn't really feel that. Basically, there's this group of mothers in this neighborhood. They meet up, they have like a nice like kind of outdoor, you know, bonfire picnic one night. There's some drinking going on, and then one of the mothers disappears. And so the police are questioning everyone. They're trying to figure out what happened. Did the mother run away? Did something happen to them? Was there foul play? Etc. So it's a good premise. It's a premise that I would normally really love in a thriller, but I wouldn't call this a thriller. To me, this was really just kind of a suspenseful neighborhood tale. I mean, maybe there's like a really big twist at the end, but I was really starting to struggle to get through this, and I'm really sad because I had some people comment saying they really enjoyed this book, and I'm sure it's good, but it just wasn't for me, and I wish it was, because I liked the premise. However, this next book did not disappoint, and the title of this sends chills up and down my spine because of how it's incorporated into the book, which is, I think, the sign of a very good thriller. And that's What Have You Done by Sherry Lupino. So I was a little nervous going into this, even though I've liked other Sherry Lupinos, because I hadn't heard as many good things about this book. But I really liked it. So basically we have a small town setting, and the body of a teenage girl is found in this like field, and unfortunately it's quite decomposed. I think like animals and stuff had gotten to her, and and people are just shocked. You know, this is like the small town where everyone leaves their doors unlocked and people are scared for their teen, you know, daughters and sons. They're really nervous. People are being questioned. It's really like an unsettling atmosphere. And the premise is that one innocent question, "What have you done?" could be the unraveling of it all, because someone in this small town did this. I barely pieced together the person that question would be directed at. But man, it was such a harrowing, like my heart was pounding out of my chest for that. Whew, okay, so that is a thriller I highly recommend, like a good strong 4 stars for me. A 5-star thriller this month. I flew through this. I absolutely love this, and I'm so excited because I haven't had a 5-star read from this author yet. I've had solid like 3.5, 4-star reads from them, but never a 5-star, but this is it. And that's 9 Lives by Peter Swanson. If you're on the list, someone wants you dead. So basic premise is that there is a list that's being mailed out to 9 different individuals, and their name, along with the names of 8 other people, 9 in total, are on this list, and that's all that's in the letter. Like, it's just this list of names, including their own. And a lot of people think it's a joke, a prank, it's weird, who knows what it's for. They don't know the other people on the list, you know, some of them throw it away. But people start to die. The people on the list start to be killed one by one. And one of the people on the list is an FBI agent who gets very involved in solving the case, both for her own safety and because she's just really, she kind of takes the list more seriously as like a threat than the others do, just because of the nature of her job. This book was so good. Oh my goodness. I can't really say much more about why I liked it because it would reveal certain tropes, but I absolutely love thrillers like this. If you have recommendations like this, or What Have You Done by Sherry Lupina, I would love to hear them, please, by all means. But that book, and then the very ending, if you have read this, the very, very ending and kind of something that had been left out, I was very, I can't say any more. I wish it's easier with cozy mysteries to describe the book, but thrillers, it's like the less you say, the better. So I was just always trying not to say too much, but man, if the 9 Lives premise sounds good to you at all, please read it. I had a blast reading it. I read it for one of our Cozy Haven Patreon readathons this month, and I flew through it faster than like any other book. It was so good. Another really solid one for me this month was The Guilt Trip by Sandy Jones. I've read a handful of Sandy Jones. I don't think I've had a 5-star from her. Maybe 1, but most of the time it's been like just really high, like 4 stars. She's wrote The Other Woman, which I really enjoyed. And I just... if you like friend and like wedding drama thrillers, may I recommend this. They are traveling to Portugal for this friend's wedding, and there are 3 couples. They're all friends in one way or another. Some of them knew each other from college, some of them are newer to the group because they started like dating, some of them are like brothers, but they're all kind of friends and they all have their own stories, and there is multiple points. You're kind of, I don't know, you're mostly following one character, Rachel, so there's not like set multiple points of views, but it kind of feels like you are reading from different perspectives. And basically the bride-to-be, Allie, she has a secret, and Rachel finds out that secret, and she's got to kind of she's got to decide whether she's going to tell the groom, whether she's going to tell the other friends, and then just all this drama starts coming out. Oh my goodness, this was a really good read. I would really recommend this, especially for summer. I believe it took place in summer, and definitely with the Portugal wedding vibes, it feels like a spring or summer thriller to me, but I had a really great time with it this month. The other one I read, I already returned this to my library, it's called The Many Lives of Veronica Hawkins, an addictive and deliciously glamorous thriller with a shocking twist by Christina Perez. I DNF'd it. I really wanted to like it. This was another one I read for my vlog, which is linked above if you want a more in-depth review, but basically we have this very glamorous socialite, Veronica Hawkins, who is, she's, you know, she's like from old money, she's got all this wealth. She kind of lures in this like journalist who has moved out there recently, doesn't have any friends or anyone. They start to hang out, and she's just really kind of infatuated with her, not like in a romantic sense necessarily, but just in awe of like all that she can do and like all of her connections and her power and her money. And you know from the start that Veronica Hawkins will die. So that's very clearly established like in the summary at the very beginning of the book. So that's like the thrilling element, right? Because you're suspensefully, like, you're sitting here in suspense waiting to find out why and who and how and, you know, what leads up to this event, right? But I read like 90 or 100 pages into this and I felt like nothing had happened except establishing that Veronica was this very like wealthy, like fabulous, everyone loves her socialite, and I was just really bored and I put it aside. So that's basically my thoughts on it. I wish I enjoyed it more because again the premise was right up my alley, but it just felt very slow paced for me and more like a suspense kind of drama than a thriller, at least to the point that I read it in, but it just wasn't my favorite, so I put it aside. And that is it for me this month, guys. I had overall a pretty good reading month. Quite a few DNFs. I feel like I should count up how many books did I DNF. I think I DNF'd at least 5 books, so a pretty DNF heavy month for me, but I'm just trying to be more aggressive with, if I'm not enjoying it, like, I'm gonna put it aside, you know. If it feels like I'm being compelled to pick it up, then I'm gonna put it aside. Like, that's just not, you know, I'm here because reading is fun, it's a cozy escape for me, so I don't know. But let me know if you think, like this one here especially, this was really like a soft DNF for me. Like, I'm really, I don't know, maybe I'll pick it up again and try to read it in this format, or let me know if you've read it in audio, if you enjoyed it, because I'm really curious how this one ends. I really want to know, but I just kind of was struggling with the formatting, so I'm like, maybe the audio would be better, but let me know. I would love to know what your thoughts are. Let me know if you've read any of these books and what your thoughts were on them, even if they're different than my own, and please let me know what was your favorite read last month. I love hearing your recommendations. You guys give me so many good recommendations, so thank you, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Please don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you are new here. I post new book content every week on my channel, especially within the cozy mystery and thriller genre, so really anything with like a mystery base I talk about here. If you like mysteries, you'll find something I think that you'll enjoy. And I make lots of cozy reading vlogs with cooking, baking, all of that fun stuff, so I hope you'll hang around. My name is Amy Marie, and thanks for spending some time with me today. Let me know what your favorite book was last month, and I'll see you guys really soon. Bye!